Hey guys, so in this video I wanted to give you a few tips, like 3 really quick tips that are going to be super easy to implement that will automatically make you leaner and more muscular. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. So the first thing that is going to be most important for you to start doing is to start getting in 8,000 daily steps at least. So we have some pretty good research that physical activity is really important for like just basic general health. But having a baseline level of physical activity, and particularly 8,000 steps, is the figure I'm giving because we have some research that says like that's where the benefits really start to happen. You basically will have better nutrient partitioning, so which means that more of the food that you eat will go towards muscle instead of body fat. It will improve your insulin sensitivity, so your body's ability to process glucose in the bloodstream go into the muscle instead of fat and just staying around like in the bloodstream. It also is going to improve your overall recovery from your workouts, and just has a myriad of like health benefits that will help you live longer. But basically, it also will help with your body's appetite management, because it's essentially like if you're sedentary, there's like a U-shaped curve with like a U-shaped curve with like physical activity and appetite management. So like really low levels of physical activity. Well, it's not like this, it's like this. All right, okay. Yeah, so it's like this, like a U-shaped curve, like I said. Where like low levels of physical activity tend to really exacerbate your hunger signaling. Like you're gonna be hungry relative to like your body's actual energy needs. Right, and moderate levels of physical activity actually lower down your hunger a little bit and help regulate it better. Whereas like really high levels of physical activity, like think about like if you went swimming like one day, like you get really freaking hungry, like that can also be a thing. So getting more moderate levels of physical activity, at least 8,000 steps per day. I recommend like 8 to 15,000 steps per day. For most people, that's pretty sustainable. Depending on your lifestyle, and that's where we could probably find that you're on someplace on that curve. But some really actionable tips to help you get in more steps throughout the day if you're finding it's becoming an issue is go on, like break up your sedentary time during the day with like exercise snacks. This is actually something that's been in the literature to show that be really helpful. So like going like maybe like a 3-minute walk, like once every hour. You wake up, you go on like a 10-minute walk. When you're at your walk, you're at the gym, like instead of just sitting down between your steps, like pace around. When you are just resting, we actually have some research that actually says that actually helps benefit like recovery in between sets, like more than just sitting down too. Fun fact. That's just some ways to get it in, but it's going to be really helpful and really important to do that. So get at least 8,000 steps. If you're not doing that, it's going to be really helpful. Second thing is to start eating more protein. So protein has a really unique effect on essentially nutrient partitioning and your body's body composition in particular, because it's really important for building and maintaining some muscle tissue. So if you're not having like much protein, you're going to not have as much muscle. And basically, how much protein should you have? So this is like the bare minimum is about like 0.7 grams per pound of body weight for people that lift weights. However, I find that I like to generally scale protein intake to like level of like training volume that you have. So if you're maybe only training like 2 days a week, like 3 days a week, maybe you don't need more like 0.7 grams of protein. Like maybe that's fine. You're not doing a ton of training volume. You're not super strong, etc. The muscle breakdown you're having isn't that substantial, then maybe you don't need as much. But if you're somebody like me who like I train every single day for about 2 to 3 hours a day, like I like skewing protein a little more towards like 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight. That will help out with your recovery and body composition quite a bit in my personal experience. Like that's just what I found in practice to be most effective in terms of protein intake. But a good safe number for most people is like being between 0.7 and 1 gram per protein per pound of body weight. You're going to find that you're able to be leaner as a result of that, have more muscle mass, and have better workouts. And mainly the better workouts is what's going to help drive that better body composition. And also like protein has a higher thermic effect of food. So if you're having like more protein, maybe you aren't having much protein, you're having like 100 grams per day, when you go towards like 200 grams of protein per day, you're going to burn a lot more calories through digestion that will have a small impact on your body composition. So you have like 0.7 to 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight. Probably scale that with like how physically active that you are, how much training volume that you have. Protein will also help regulate your hunger, and again, that's going to help manage body composition well. Last point I have is going to be start resistance training if you are not at least 3 days a week, with at least 10 sets per muscle group. This is going to be really important for nutrient partitioning again. And if essentially we have a signal for our bodies to actually be able to use the calories and go towards muscle tissue. This is one of the awesome things about weight training is that you can If you're in a slight surplus, you're going to be able to have more of that, go towards muscle mass. If you're eating maintenance, again, more just going to go to muscle mass. You're just going to look better and be leaner as default. So, at least 10 sets per week per muscle group, preferably split between like 2 sessions per minimum to maximize what's called a fractional synthetic rate, which is essentially how long muscle protein synthesis is elevated after a bout of weight training. Basically it's going to be anywhere between like 24 like 72 hours, depending on how big the muscle group is, how strong it is, etc. So like if you have like a bigger muscle group, like if your quads, they might need 72 hours, whereas your delts might be better ready to go in 24 hours. But more frequent, having at least twice a week will help maximize the muscle protein synthesis response and your body composition and nutrient partitioning. So those are my 3 main tips for just really easy things you can start to implement in your life and just be leaner and more muscular as a result of it. So hopefully this is helpful. If you guys have any questions, ask down below. If you guys are interested in coaching, also the links down below. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.